All my challenge runs end up with people asking me to do it on a barb. So I was of course very surprised when it started happening on the energy only sorceress I did about a year ago. Call me all of the shocked. What does surprise me though is that the last few months I've started getting a ton of comments about how Warcry barbarians are apparently a meme. People don't seem to know just how strong Warcry barbarians actually are. So allow me to show you. Welcome to the energy only barbarian. The rules are the exact same as they were on the sorceress run. I can do whatever I want with the skills, but every single stat point has to go into the most useful stat of them all. Energy. Just like every run we are starting off in Hell Act 5. No, just kidding. We all know it. We all love it. We all ignore Warrior there together to blitzkrieg the Blood Moor as fast as possible. Once in the Blood Moor we attack some zombies just minding their own business and get our first few level ups. The rules make picking our stat selection very easy, everything goes into energy. For the rest we are working with the base stats of our bald hero, 30 strength, 20 dexterity and 25 vitality. Which isn't a lot, but that's the whole point of doing a challenge run. Energy wise we start off with 10, cause we are strong burly men, but this time we are going cosplaying as the most energetic burly man. Once we reach level 6 and have a scepter per hand, it's time to dive into the wonderful world of swinging with demons. Double swinging that is, not a lot to explain here. This skill has you using both your left and right-handed weapon to attack the monsters with very fast. The biggest irony of this is that every single skill point you put into double swing lowers the mana cost. The one upside we don't really need as an energy only barbarian, but hey, barb runners can't be choosers. As I mentioned earlier, we are starting out with 30 strength and not putting any points into it at all. Now, being a conscious objector to stat points is fine in theory, but it won't make my gear any lighter. Fortunately, there are multiple ways of getting strength. Charms are a good way to find some stats. You can find them with either strength or dexterity. This one rolled strength, so that is +1 strength at the price of an inventory slot. Seems fair and reasonable. You'd think that you would be able to at least get through Act 1 of the first difficulty without too many problems on a challenge run. But in the tower, the ghost recruitment team enlists me to join their forces post haste. This seems to be a recurring trend when the countess applies the same status condition to my health bar. I am no stranger to playing bad builds, but recurring death before we even reach the cathedral is a very worrying occurrence. The next few attempts of farming the countess go much smoother. We don't need too many runes from her, just 4 tail, an it, 2 et and an L. Just nothing at all. Might as well farm up to a Zod rune while we are here. Along the way I ended up finding a 3 to dexterity large charm. I'm sure we can wear everything in the game no problem in a few minutes at this rate. I'll go over why we need all of those runes when it becomes relevant, which is right now. No need to wait for the cool stuff on this channel. The Tal and Et rune combined into a 2-socket armor make the rune word stealth. This overpowered rune word has 25 faster run walk and cast speed. The run speed is nice, but it's all about the casting speed on this run. Stealth is the only armor in the game that gets you casting speed so early on in a run. In the barracks we deal with the smith for his Horadric malus. After giving this to Charcy, you get to turn a plain white item into a, hopefully, sweet rare. The catacombs level 4 house the mighty Andariel. Or, well, they did cause she's dead now Jim. Upon her alt F4ing out of life, she drops the best item I could have ever asked her to drop. Crush Flange has enhanced damage, 33% crushing blow, meaning that a third of the time it deals a percentage of the life bar of the boss, which ends up being a whole lot of damage. More importantly though are the other 2 relevant mods on this, 50% racism to the undead and 15 strength, catapulting our strength into the stratosphere all the way up to 46. Oh, and there is also 50% fire resist helping our survivability. This does mean that I farmed way too many runes that I now won't need anymore, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make to get a 50% strength bonus. In Act 2, the first thing I do is to go and buy a 3-socket weapon. Now normally I would buy a flail cause they get 3 sockets and are a faster weapon, but they require too much dexterity, so I end up buying an axe instead. Let me ask you a question. How many games do you know where 3 times 75 is 226? 0? Well, now you know 1. And it's Diablo 2, which means all the other games are wrong. But you know what isn't wrong? Today's sponsor, Manta Sleep. You know how in Diablo 2, the real enemy isn't Diablo. It's saying one more run at 2:18 AM. Because somehow Bale runs turn into bird runs as you hear them chirping outside. Turns out the true Lord of Terror is Sunrise, and also that one streetlight that beams directly through your window like it has a personal vendetta. which is why I have been very happy with the sponsor of today's video, Manta Sleep. The Manta Sleep Mask Pro is like deleting light radius from your life, just a total blackout. I'm talking getting surprised by dolls' endurance levels of dark. You put it on and it's just a black portal to darkness. No light sneaking in from the sides, no weird pressure on your eyes, and it's actually comfortable enough to sleep in all night. So even if I stay up a few weeks too long trying to find that one perfect drop, I can still wake up feeling ready to try again. If I'm going to sleep, it should be normal, not nightmare. Stay a while and rest knowing you got a 10% discount thanks to my code NUCLEAR. You can find both the code and my link in the description and the pinned comment. Thanks again to Manta Sleep for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the story. Another weapon I'm making is a Malice. This unassuming low-level rune word is much more powerful than it looks. The combination of minus defense and a 100% chance for open wounds makes it an amazing weapon for killing bosses. I know it looks ridiculous that this level 13 weapon would be any good endgame, but this malicious little miscreant is one of the most consistent weapons in the game for not only the normal endgame bosses, but even the mighty Ubers. Having reached over 200 poison damage in Act 2, normal means that damage wise we are feeling smooth. Even on Players 8, the hardest mode you can play the game in, where it pretends there are 8 players in the game even if you are alone, causing enemies to have roughly 4 times the health for a big experience boost. They also deal a lot more damage, but we won't mention that. One easy way we can try to get some more resistances is by using the Imbue quest back in Act 1. For this I always roll boots because they can get faster run walk as well, which would allow me to run to my death quicker. I end up rolling 13 lightning resist and some magic find. It's not exactly be all and all numbers of either of them, but the normal difficulty is all about getting things started, so I'll gladly wear them for now. Poison damage isn't great against the Act bosses, but in Act 2 normal there is still a case to be made for big numbers of damage, just outperforming everything. So once our bald hero reaches Duriel, the destroyer of people that are lagging, it's a matter of making sure he is looking green all the time, meaning that the poison damage is ticking down, cause on our 105 life we are definitely not face tanking him anytime soon. This fight is definitely a long run and not a fight, and thanks to the power of stamina potions, we managed to bravely run away long enough to see the demon's health pool hit 0, allowing us to move on towards the jungles of Kurast. One of the most important upgrades for this run ends up not dropping in the forest, but in the spider cavern instead, as Dreadfester drops the jade figurine. Normally this is a nice upgrade that you just kind of pick up along the way, cause it's there anyway, so why wouldn't you? But in this run where we are not only doing an energy only run, we are kind of by accident also doing a no vitality run, resulting in our life total only getting the boosts from our level ups. Every level up gets you a sliver of life, but it's just not enough. So getting an additional 20 from the jade figurine in this run isn't just 20 life, it's the equivalent of putting 4 jar runes in your gear. Seems like good value for a quick walk to a weird old man in an abandoned cabin to me. While Ormus cheapskated out on me like usual, the council absolutely didn't. Mr. Vilehand ended up dropping a rare ring that is easily going to be my ring until the end of the run. Dreadmaster has 1 to strength to help us out in the stat department. Some mana cause our strategy of pumping everything into energy while using a skill that doesn't cost mana was obviously getting us in trouble in that regard. All kidding aside though, the great part of this ring is obviously the massive pile of resistances. 28 cold and 25 lightning is just fantastic. The 6 magic find is just the cherry on top of what is all in all a fantastic ring. A thing that has been happening for a while is people commenting that they didn't know you can get dolls on level 3 of the Durance of Hate. It makes sense that the lovely viewers of this channel that are definitely subscribed and have checked to make sure. Being subscribed to this channel increases the odds of not finding any dolls after all. So having done that, you won't be finding any of them anymore, cause they are all spawning in my games. I don't know why, but I keep rolling these stupid fuckers every single time. They probably just hate me cause I'm beautiful. Despite adding 4 jar runes worth of life total and pumping up the resistances with the perfect Mephisto ring, our life total just isn't high enough to be able to deal with the Lord of Hatred. Every single hit that makes it to our life total, which unfortunately is all of them, because we spec'd into energy instead of doing anything even close to resembling something that could pretend to be good, just makes our beautiful orb go from red to see-through. After just keeping on and applying the poison 1 tick at a time, the demon decides to die and we get to move on. Our Act 4 Hellforge gets us a Thule rune, one of the top drops it could have given us and a great way to make a start into the big plan for the run. It might be a spoiler, but I am not going to be using a 3-tile rune axe all the way up to Hellbale. I know it doesn't sound like something I do, but there is a plan here. I would never just run into a challenge run willy-nilly and just hope for the best. With my life total being consistently low, I'm always on the lookout for resistances. The Chaos Sanctuary ended up improving my gear quite a bit. A rare amulet that I found along the way turned out to have 35% cold resist and 80% gold find to gain back some of the gold I'm losing from dying so much. Thanks to this, our resistances are all in all very good, with most of them being over 60. Poison resistance is irrelevant, cause you can just drink an antidote. You would have thought I learned this lesson in 3rd grade biology or just by ever touching grass at any point in my life, but I found out the hard way that if you try to absorb the lightning and physical damage that is in Diablo's lightning, catching it with your face is not the way to do it. So one quick death by electrocution later, the lesson is learned. Between the poison ticking down and the immensely powerful crushing blow from the crush flange, which I'm surprised at this point doesn't have a hernia from all the carrying it's doing. Anyway, it just crushed Diablo's life total. He ended up dropping a rare crystal sword that has +1 to barbarian skills. While it would be an upgrade very soon, its 43 strength requirement is a bit too steep right now without the crush flange, forcing me into an awkward position of having to choose between the venomous axe or +2 skills instead of just getting both. With 4 acts done, there are 11 more to go. Knowing that there are so many little problems already makes me feel like I'm trying to climb a mountain without using my hands, or legs, or brain. That feeling will disappear soon, cause we will be able to get into a good build that utilizes all the mana we are gaining once we reach level 30. With us not spending the mana we were getting from the energy stat, we've basically done the first 4 acts statless, but that will all be over soon. Having reached Eldritch, we have reached the point of the run where we do all of the grinding that got edited out later, cause it's boring to watch. We did that up to level 30, after which we went to the Den of Evil, cause we want both the skill point and the respec it gets you as a reward. Stat wise, we are done very quickly thanks to the nature of our challenge. We smooth brain all of it straight into energy. I would say no questions asked. But I have a lot of questions about why anyone would do this to themselves. No matter though, we are here to ruin our vocal cords, not to think. Skill wise, we are going into Warcry and its synergies. Warcry has you yelling really hard and that apparently creates a circle around you made of physical damage and stunning the enemies. Like I mentioned in the intro, a lot of people meme around this build and think it's bad. They are wrong. It is by far the strongest barbarian build to play through the game and up there as one of the safest builds in the entire game. And I don't mean just for the barbarian, I mean for all the classes. Seriously, we were just dying all the time due to our low life total, but Warcry just straight up removes every problem we have by just stunning everything for a few seconds. The stun length on this is absolutely insane. You can just stun something, go do a Mephisto run on your sorceress and get back while everything is still stunned. The one downside to this build is that it's bad at killing bosses. To fix that, we are going to put a point into Concentrate. Why Concentrate, you ask? Well, if you get hit for a big amount of damage, you get put into hit recovery. This is based on your total life pool, which in our case is extremely low, meaning that we would get put into this animation all the time, making us all of the dead and dealing none of the damage. Concentrate solves this by being uninterruptible. It's not going to hit all the time or anything, but that is what we have the Malice with its minus defenses for. Told you there was a plan. I know this is going to sound wild, but this is just a good barbarian build. You would normally of course use your stats to wear your gear instead of doing the nonsense I am doing and put points into vitality. But even with my handicapping myself severely during this, a lot of the rest of this run is just free. There are definitely problems still going to happen, but anything that isn't ranged or immune to physical is free from here on out. I mean, just look at this Shank fight. This is how a lot of the rest of this run is going to be. It doesn't matter if your damage isn't the highest, if your opponent isn't fighting back. Moving along further into the act, I start wondering why I'm saving my brethren, if even after opening the door, they are still too stupid to walk out of their cage. Seriously guys, do I have to grab you by the dick and tug you out of there or what? Well, I'm not doing that. Have fun in your open cage. When I said there would be trouble still, one of the things I was worried about was the blood mana effect. Now I know a lot of people have never seen this, so I'll explain it to you. In Diablo 2, certain enemies and one really tedious act boss have the blood mana skill. These are the orange swirls you see hanging above my character right now. This is an effect that can only get cast on you when your mana pool is bigger than your health pool. It's the ultimate punishment for being an energy based caster. What this does is that every time you use a spell, the mana cost gets converted into a life cost. That sounds pretty abstract, so I'll use an example. Let's take a hypothetical situation. You have a barbarian running around with 141 life and 215 mana. This made up barbarian that was happily frolicking around living life suddenly gets put into a life or death situation, when every one of their shouts of happiness turns into a groan of death as his blue balls stay untouched by the mana cost of their spells. Instead, having its cost converted into spending their precious little red ball. Now every time they shout and let it all out, there is nothing they can do about losing 11